Good morning, afternoon, and speakers. You are all welcome to the highly anticipated
Hi.
Good evening and thank you for coming in us.
you are all welcome to the highly anticipated YALDA and College Guide.
Thank you.
My name is Portia Safo, YALDA social media team member, and I will be co-moderating this session with
I'm Pech Lim Gatluak, Program Coordinator at College Guide Africa. I'm happy to moderate with the both here today. Thanks.
Good. Now, before we get to the why we are here today, let's quickly go through the few etiquettes which will guide us through this session to ensure that this webinar runs smoothly. First of all, when you enter the webinar, make sure you are on mute, okay? And also, you must remain on mute throughout the webinar. Also, ensure your camera is off because we need to respect everyone else's data consumption as data is expensive in Africa. Also, please type your questions or comments in the chat box only. And note that if you are doing so, kindly put your name and country, then you follow up with your questions or comments. Those whose question or comment are selected will be asked to unmute and speak. If you are asked to speak, you must introduce yourself by name and country only. And please, you repeat the question or comment that you typed in the chat box. So let's take note of this etiquette and abide by it. Okay, so let's move on to a bit introduction to this webinar. Artificial intelligence is rapidly transforming every facet of society, including education and workforce development. For Africa, a continent rich in talent and untapped potential, understanding and leveraging AI for skill development and career readiness is paramount. This webinar on AI and education for skill development and career readiness aims to equip African youth, educators, and policymakers with insights on how AI is reshaping education and the job market. By fostering discussions that bridge education and career pathways with AI technologies, the webinar will explore how young Africans can position themselves at the forefront of the digital revolution. Insights will be shared on integrating AI into learning systems, preparing for AI-driven careers, and ensuring equitable access to AI education. Studies have also shown that Africa's youth population is expected to double by 2050, making it a global center for workforce potential, with AI poised to disrupt traditional industries and create new ones. Preparing young Africans for this future is both a challenge and an opportunity. This collaboration between College Guide Africa and YALDA will provide a platform for learning, exchange, and empowerment to unlock Africans' potential in the AI-driven era. We recognize Oluwalamile Awe Joseph from Nigeria and Percy Gabonshua from Botswana as the authors of the webinar's concept notes. To begin this exciting webinar, I'll ask all of you in the audience to type in the chat box your name and country So please, let's do this quick exercise. The audience who joined us, kindly type in the chat box your name and then your country. Thank you very much. Pechulim, over to you.
Thank you, Portia, for the nice introduction about the session, about today's session. I'm now going to introduce our speakers for today's webinar. The first speaker that we have on board is we have Amaral Pastudo, who is IT engineer and certified Microsoft Innovative Educator from Angola. We also have the next speaker. We have our next speaker is Semakaleng Dramani, who is co-founder and director at TechFlow Africa from South Africa. We also have Pablo Bernades Balenzo, who is academic coordinator at Universidad de San Andres from Argentina. Yes. So our next speaker, we have Marian Xavier, who is human resource professional from Angola and Portugal. Yes. So our next speaker, we also have Sherisha Barat, who is co-founder at Lois App LLC from South Africa. Our next speaker, we have Joyce Tari Baksho, who is software engineer, tech educator, and advocate from Nigeria. Our next speaker, we have Abasi Hakmat, who is generative AI engineer, along Kenya from Tunisia. So our next speaker, we have Patumata Danso, who is head of AI research, Gomende Inch from Gambia. We have our next speaker, Isra Itis, who is data science intensive, Orange Tunisia from Tunisia. Our next speaker, we have Nusra Farouk, who is founder and partner at AI Intelligent Strategy from India. Yeah. So thank you. Those are the speakers for today's webinar. Now I'm going to read the overall question for today's webinar that will be answered by each of these speakers because they have different insight about the question. The overall question for today's webinar is, how can AI be a transformative tool for education and skills development in general, especially among Africans in preparing youth for the demands of the 21st
Thank you so much for the lovely introduction. And am I audible, first of all? Like, am I clearly audible? Thank you. I guess I would first address like why I am first is because it's 30 p.m. my time in India. I get the first preference to speak. But such a fantastic lineup of speakers, and I'm really excited for the conversation that's going to take place. I think for the question, honestly, I thought that I would just share my story. That why am I here? How am I here? Like, what did I do in life? The mission and the experiences that I had in order to reach where I am, and what tools I used and what skills I developed over the course of my education and my employment, that now I have founded my own consulting firm. Um, but a little bit about AI strategy, artificial intelligence strategy, which I founded, is basically a CEO advisory firm. We advise CEOs on AI strategies because AI landscape, everybody knows, is transforming. And so how do we include AI strategies into the organizational strategies on high level? And how do we train workforce? How do we develop those skills? And so we advise CEOs or leadership governments on how to do that. But we do it responsibly, ethically, and safely. I think that's the most important thing that I think will be touched in the conversation today. Yes, we are going to learn these skills and develop leadership in these, but are we doing it responsibly, ethically, and safely? I mean, we have seen the kind of AI race right now. Just last week, we saw that DeepSeek, a Chinese company, came up with R1, which is their own generative AI model, which is giving enormous competition to OpenAI's O3 model, which it claims to be of higher efficiency, the highest efficiency so far. But it seems like the Chinese model is much more efficient than the OpenAI model, and is 27 times cheaper than the amount of money OpenAI had to invest in this. And I think the question that I would pose to the audience is that, are we ready? Is Africa ready? Are African countries ready? Are African leadership ready? I have had the privilege of been in closed door conversations with the heads of African states lately, just in January, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago. That was on the international security front, that was on the terrorism sort of thing. But at the core of it, and how resilient African education systems are. So I think that's something that is going to be touched upon in this conversation here. But very quickly, I'll share my story. So in my undergrad, I did engineering. After that, I worked in a think tank based in India. I worked on data collection, and my job was data cleaning, but also I was coordinating research, data collection, in multiple states, across multiple states, and across multiple zones, and working with different teams. But I realized that I was missing something, even though I had done engineering, but I was missing, I did not know how to do when you collect enormous data from the field, like how do you process that data, and how do you clean that data, and how do you analyze that data for policy making, and how do you then write research papers out of this? So I realized that I had a gap in that. So what I did, I went for my master's, and in my master's I developed coding skills. I started coding in R, I started coding in Python. And so I filled that gap that was missing in my field. And then once I had learned those coding languages, I learned machine learning. And then also at some point learned how to code AI models. And with that experience, I was able to go into the job market after my master's. And then I was using AI in counterterrorism. Counterterrorism is my background. International security is my background. So I was applying AI and AI systems into the world of counterterrorism. And after that, I started writing more on AI, like how AI is transforming societies. For example, elections, disinformation, influence operations by foreign adversaries.
Excuse me,
And so I
Mr.
started writing.
Farouk. you can
Yeah.
wrap up in 30 minutes, 30 seconds,
Okay.
I mean.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Sorry.
Yeah.
And so then I started writing. I understood the gap in my of course, generative AI had come by then, and I started developing those skills. And so I think it's a paradigm shift, the kind of Gen AI world that we are living in. And so I think in our generation, we had the MS Word, but now we have the basic tool set is Gen AI and AI. So I think it's a paradigm shift, and I think Africa has been building innovative solutions when it comes to AI, but we need to think about the core skills, that is the education, math, coding, et cetera, et cetera. So I'll end there.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nusrat Farouk, for the nice insights. Thank you for giving us the information that AI is used for research, can also use for discovering new skill like coding. That's really great. So I'd like to call on our next speaker. That is Amaral Pastudo. You're most welcome to give your insight in 3 minutes.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, audible. I can hear you.
Thank you so much for the amazing opportunity. I'm gonna go straight to the question. AI can transform education and skill development in Africa by offering personalized learning. As the global job market increasingly demands skills like coding, data analysis, machine learning, digital literacy, AI can be a key tool in preparing young people for these roles. AI isn't just about solution, it's about understanding human needs, especially for Africa. Country still new. In order for us to make sure that we are part of the development of Africa, we have to be equipped. And AI came to actually help us to have all the necessary skills. That's why it says African-wide learning. What does it mean? That means that before you actually choose a field in technology or in other fields, first you need a clear understanding of what you will be studying. And AI has this ability to help us understanding, or at least have a clear basic of what we will be studying. I think I will stop here for now.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much, Amaral Pastudo, for the nice insight, for telling us AI can be used for our basic need. I hope, audience, you're getting some insightful information. You can also keep giving us emojis for us to know that you're really getting what our speakers are saying. So we are going to have the next speaker, who is Samalakalang Damini. So you must give your insight in 3 minutes. You're welcome.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to connect and have conversations around how AI can, or actually the educational skills that could be reinforced to ensure that our youth is ready for future jobs. So I am in the education space. We have been supporting teachers for almost 12 years now, supporting teachers in teaching effectively, mathematics effectively, and also just getting to make sure that no teacher is left behind and no learner is left behind during digital transformation that we are currently facing. So what we realized is, as a teacher, learners, or what teachers normally do is they would put learners into an umbrella, teaching the same skills to learners, assuming that learners learn the same way. So having AI as a tool that actually helps learners get personalized type of questions, personalized learning, offers learners to actually go beyond, be critical thinkers, be innovative in how they're solving problems in their communities. The other challenge that we have seen as teacher specialists is language barrier, language being a barrier to actually learning. So you would find that the youth, more especially in South Africa, we have 11 official languages where our learners would, if they get an opportunity to use AI tools, they struggle to really read the questions with understanding because English then is not their mother tongue. So what AI does, it also helps with removing the language barrier, ensuring that every learner is able to read with understanding and therefore come up with solutions that they can use in their communities. AI also played a crucial role in education in a sense that most of our teachers were struggling with administrative tools. AI actually helps them to manage their administrative tasks effectively, making sure that they have enough time to then teach and ask questions that actually help learners to be critical thinkers. So I will pause here.
Kalang, for the nice insight. Thank you for giving us that AI is useful, can boost our creativity. That's a wonderful point. I'd like to call on my co-moderator, Portia, to come and take over. So Portia, you're most welcome. Okay, so now I'm going to call on our next speaker. Pablo Bernades Balezo, who is San Andres from Argentina. You're most welcome to give us your insight in 3 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you very much there. I'm glad to be joining you here from across the ocean, actually from Argentina. Probably a different context with some similarities and differences to the ones you encounter. Just a brief point about where I come from. I come from a design education background. So I am an academic coordinator of an undergraduate program in design. So I'm every day trying to help teach and train of the future. And maybe a couple of things about the impact of AI in education. The first one that I think is very important is that we should not necessarily consider AI just as a technical skill, but much more as a capability that we need to exercise a lot of critical thinking in order to be able to bring it to fruition. And there maybe I see a difference between a more skills development and a more undergraduate or graduate educational context. Just a couple words on each one. On the skills development front, let's assume this is a person or people that already has some professional development or professional experience in their lifetime. And for these people, they already know what good looks like, how to create good quality outputs. But it's often very difficult for these people to integrate AI in their day-to-day work because they have not been being able to go beyond just playing around with it. So with this specific group, I see there's a big opportunity in being able to overcome frustration with this first contact with the tools. Just a quick tip, maybe for some of you in the audience that might be in this camp, that you might be struggling with really creating good output with tools such as ChatGPT, Claude, or any other more open alternative, is as you get this maybe subpar or not so good result that you get from those tools, maybe you can ask the model back, okay, ask me 3 questions that will allow you to create a better answer. And by giving better context, you will be able to get a better results from the tools we have today, because for this group of people, it's very important to acquire a good amount of flight hours in using these tools and not just month. It's very difficult to keep up with it. And more for the educational side of it, and maybe I can talk a bit more later. framing. We're talking about how to understand the ethical considerations, bearing in mind that students do not necessarily understand what good looks like. They don't have a good sense of the subject matter that they are working with. So incorporating AI prematurely without crafting different learning experiences can actually be detrimental to their own learning experience. So at least that's what being seen in many educational contexts around the world. And I can talk a bit more about that, but I want to leave space for the rest. Thank you.
That's all. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Pobia, you can now take over from the next speaker. Pobia, you can now. Yeah, you're most welcome.
All right, thank you, Pilch. So we move on to the next speaker, and our next speaker is Joy Tari Bakshaw. So please, if you are there, kindly unmute and give us your thoughts.
Thank you so much. I hope you can hear me clearly. All right, thank you. Okay. Okay, so as we all know, it's in recent times, AI has the power to redefine education and skill development as well in Africa by making learning more accessible, more personalized, and more relevant as well, especially to the demands of the modern workforce as we know it. And one of the biggest challenges when it comes to African education is the lack of access, right, to these tools. And we can see so far that these AI-powered tools, we have a lot of resources at hand. We have a lot of advantages like adaptive learning platforms, AI tutors, automated assessment systems to help bridge the education gap as well. And even if we know that AI can democratize education by breaking language barriers and literacy barriers as well, through providing AI-driven translations, voice assistance, and even chatbots, as we have seen a lot of Africans build a lot of amazing products to help suit this problem, right? Especially with translating languages, right? In terms of African languages, translating a particular article or a particular education resource to multiple African languages. And this is really, really important, especially when it comes to youth in rural areas who may not have access to the normal traditional education institutions as we know it. But then beyond education, looking over to the skill development aspect of it, you can see that AI is also transforming that aspect in terms of offering intelligent career guidance as well, automating repetitive tasks, and even enabling hands-on learning too through simulations. And now we even have virtual labs all around. So I think that's also pretty interesting. And despite the fact that AI has a lot of advantages when it comes to the educational sector in Africa, to harness AI's full potential in Africa, we still need to focus on Africa in terms of the AI literacy and responsible AI adoption as well. And this means that we have to equip young people, especially students as well, with the skills, but not just to use AI tools, but also to build and improve them. Hence, the importance of responsible AI adoption. And we can also introduce programs into schools as well that talk about AI ethics, coding, even problem-solving subjects as well. That would be nice to be integrated so that the youths and the students can also be better prepared for the evolving job market. And I would just like to close off by saying that in the 21st century workplace as we know it, we can see that the tech landscape is continuously evolving. And AI is not replacing jobs as most of the myths goes. I think to the best of my ability that AI is actually reshaping jobs. And African youths who embrace AI as a learning and problem solving to stand a better chance, and will also be well positioned to innovate, to create, and also to lead the global economy at the end. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joy, for such an insightful session. So what I took from it is that despite the advantage of AI, let's focus on Africa and teach the students. Let's integrate AI into our education systems. Could be able to fit in the digital market. AI is not taking our jobs, but rather in such an insightful thought. Next speaker on the roll is Mariam Xavier. So Mariam Xavier, if you're on, kindly unmute and share your thoughts with us.
Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me. My name is Miriam Xavier, not Marian, but it's okay. I will just edit some points because I could hear all my colleagues and I truly agree with all of them. And from my point of view, I can say that AI have or could have a very positive impact on our African youth as it can lead us to minimize a lot of barriers that we still have with education. And one of them that I will point will be the language barrier. As you know, especially in Angola, I will talk about Angola's reality. We have a lot of companies from worldwide, and sometimes when candidates are trying to find a job, one of the requirements are always English, French, or any other language. So AI is really helping us. We had already implemented some of AI systems in Angola, and I will talk about HR later because we use AI systems or tools in HR in Angola, especially in recruitment and selection, training and development, performance appraisal, etc. So from my point of view, HR will be a very insightful tool for African as it will be able to personalize education and also make it available for people from every or any background. So from my point of view, AI will be very welcomed in Africa, and I hope our governments or countries, institutions, wherever, can be prepared and adapt to AI in future, I mean near future. So thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, Miriam Xavier, for such an insight. Now, moving on to our next speaker, we have Abasi. Kindly unmute and give us your submission.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Great.
We can hear you.
Great. So, hello, everyone. I'd like to first thank the organizers for inviting me to this hot discussion. To answer the question, I think that AI is basically no longer a futuristic concept. AI is here. It's already reshaping all of the careers. It's reshaping how we learn, how we work. And if you're not embracing it at this time, so basically you're missing out. So for education, AI is making this huge impact, not just on students, but on teachers as well. Actually, I have been teaching middle grade students for the past month right here in Tunisia. And I have been using this platform called Kahoot. I'm sure most of you are familiar with this tool. It's basically an educational platform that allows you to playfully teach students and track their stats as well. So interestingly, it has adopted AI to generate, let's say, quizzes instantly from course material. So as a teacher, I don't have to make these quizzes anymore. I just give the PDF file to the AI model, and it generates the quiz for me. So it's more time to focus on the students than on the actual course material. So AI is also revolutionizing personalized learning as well with such tools like ChatGPT or let's say coding assistants like Copilot, for example, and real-time translation, making education even more accessible and more affordable as well. For the African youth, I would say that mastering this AI era is essential for the not just for the current, but the future job market as well. Perhaps if you haven't heard about this, but 5 days ago, Microsoft actually took some initiative in took a promise actually to train 1 million South Africans in AI and cybersecurity by the year of 2026. So they're basically helping to equip the next generation of Africans. With this in mind, I would like to remind that as we embrace AI, we must treat it ethically and fairly, because AI is learning from our data, and our data is biased and has a lot of things. That's why big companies like OpenAI are introducing some feedback and humans in the loop to try to control the AI in how it responds. So that's basically it. Looking forward to my personal question later on. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Thank you very much, Abasi Ahmed, for sharing this insight with us. So AI is not for students only. Teachers are also using it, taking advantage of it to help them make sure that they focus more on the students than certain questions and then doing extracurricular activities. Thank you very much for the insight. Petchlim, over to you.
Thanks so much, Pobia, for welcoming me. So I would like to also take us through the next speakers. We have here on board Fatumata Danso. You're most welcome to give us your thoughts on the question.
Hello, everyone. I hope I'm clearly audible.
Yes, you're audible.
Okay. So thank you so much, guys, for the honor of inviting me into this platform. I am Fatumata Danso, Head of AI Research from Gomez Incorporated, which is the first ever data science and AI company in the Gambia. Quite impressive. But then going back to the question, I will not elaborate when it comes to the education aspect of it, the personalized content creation and stuff, because my co-speakers have elaborated on that. One thing I want to elaborate on is how AI can bridge the digital divide when it comes to the rural areas. Because the rural areas have limited access to resources and even quality teachers, having to build or have an AI chatbot or virtual tutors that is going to provide educational support for these kids out there in the rural areas is something where AI can be very, very cool. And then the offline AI solutions as well is going to be something that is very important, given the fact that internet is a big issue in these areas. Another thing is when it comes to the education aspect, it's enhancing teachers' productivity. So AI can automate grading, attendance tools, lesson planning. It can even create engaging digital lessons for these students out there. So that is another area where AI can be very relevant when it comes to the education aspect of it. Going back to the skills aspect of it, when it comes to skill development and workforce readiness, students can use AI to learn relevant skills such as data science and AI engineering, when it comes to fintech, when it comes to cybersecurity, software development. All of these are aspects of technology that AI can come in and help youngsters have these skills that can prepare them for the remote job opportunities across the globe. And all of these are domains where it can be aligned with any career professionals as well. And another thing is AI-powered job portals. I believe some people do have the skill sets, they do have the knowledge, but then having that opportunity to be able to be visible out there across the globe. Social media can be leveraged, yes, but then having AI-powered job portals is also something that that it can be very crucial when it comes to young people and their development into the AI space. Actually, AI is the present, is the future, it is the reality that we are living in. Quite a lot of challenges that we face in Africa. We have limited access to AI awareness, where AI literacy is something that can come into play. Access to technology and technological infrastructures is also something that is limiting most of us. So affordable internet, digital tools, electricity is also something that can come into play. And then also when it comes to data bias, we are using the chat GPTs, the co-pilots, but then how about if we can train AI models that is on African data? So AI has a whole lot of potential that can be harnessed and solve real-world problems across different sectors in Africa. Agriculture, finance, education, it's just a whole lot. Using AI, we can equip the next generation with the tools to compete globally while solving local challenges.
Thank you so much, Patunata, for the nice insight that you have given us. It is indeed that AI can bridge the digital drive in the society. Also, it can help teachers in doing research, also preparing lessons, and also students as well. So these are great points. Thank you so much for giving us, for enlightening us. So I would like to call on our next speaker, who is Ezra Etis. You're most welcome to give us your thoughts on this question. Okay, Ezra is not available. You may join us next. So I'm going to call on our last speaker, who is Seresa Barat. Seresa Barat, you're most welcome to give us your thoughts on this question.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Apologies for my voice. I actually have the flu, so I'm still recovering. But thank you so much for having me on the platform. And I think it's so important that as individuals and young individuals from Africa, we're able to give insight into AI and where this is actually going right now. So just a little bit of context on why I'm here today. So I have a legal tech platform called Lawyered Up, and we are using generative AI and natural language processing in order to automate the document lifecycle. And why is that important for the African economy? Because SMEs and startups add more than 40% to the GDP. So if we are not supporting our SMEs and startups within the African continent, how are we able to grow the economy? How are we able to have job opportunities and increasing our ability to get financial assistance and scale our businesses if we're not compliant? So that's why I do what I do. And when I think about AI and where this is going right now, it really comes down to education. And the sad reality is, I mean, when we just got into this call, we spoke about, please, can you not put your videos on because it takes bandwidth? The fact that we have to think about that as Africans, and we still have the issue of AI that is coming and taking a part of individuals' jobs, but also giving us the opportunity to have more jobs. So as much as it's taking away, it's also giving, right? But in terms of giving, in schools, our programs don't actually have AI as part of the curriculum. So how are we able to upskill ourselves if it's not something that's within our school systems? And that really comes down to embracing digital and AI skills and actually going out there and finding platforms that are, one, free, like Google AI for Africa. I mean, they offer training, coding training, AI and data science courses that individuals can take. So if you go onto Google today, you're able to see courses that are free and take them. But then I bring it back to bandwidth. So how are we able to actually just focus on upskilling and not actually worry about where we're going to get the data from? Focus on problem solving and critical thinking. So when we are thinking about where AI can actually fall into these different job opportunities, look at the problems that we do currently have and how can we utilize technology to democratize different access. So access to education, access to legal, access to medical facilities. There's so many different things where AI is coming on and giving us so many more positive things, but it is a scary space to be in, and it can be overwhelming if you're not educating yourself as we go. Another thing is that as students come out of university or school, going into university, what are you choosing to study? Choose stuff that does involve technology, because that's the way the world is going right now. So if you're not going to adapt to it, chances are your roles are going to become redundant. As horrible as that sounds, it is what's actually happening. I think about access to this education and a platform like LinkedIn. Really just go back to your LinkedIn, utilize AI to refine it. I mean, say, this is my profession, put that in ChatGPT, and then edit your LinkedIn so that you're able to attract more job opportunities. You're able to connect with people that can assist you in furthering, whether it's finding a job or educating yourself or just access to market. Because if we're not going to ask for the help, we're not going to get it. So simple tools like LinkedIn that I hope we all have or are in the process of setting up is such a powerful thing to have, to broaden your relevance and industry access. So I hope I've answered the question. I think a lot of the what I wanted to say was already answered by the multiple speakers that have come on, and I just look forward to adding value through the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Serisa Barat, for the nice insight. I've really noticed a lot of points. Like you talked of AI can help us in branding ourselves. Also, it get for us more jobs. Those are really great points, plus many more. I really appreciate that. Now I'm going to call on our speaker that we skip off. I don't know if he's around. Isra, it is. Are you available? Okay, so now we're going to, since the speaker is not around, you might be having some technical challenge. So now I'm going to call on the next presenter, Portia, to come and take us over in this page. So Portia, you're most welcome.
Okay, thank you very much, Fetchlin. So this next session of this webinar, each speaker have a specific questions that you are going to be asked, and then you have a maximum of 5 minutes to provide us with answers to this question. Now, the first question goes to Nasarat Farouk, and the question goes, how can education in the Global South collaborate with global AI strategies to prepare students for a competitive AI-driven job market? What resources, such as online platforms or global network, would you recommend for students to enhance their AI skills and career readiness?
Thank you, guys. When I learned that the kind of audience in the webinar today are between 18 to 35, and this question is honestly posed for those who are decision makers in their own countries, in their own continents. So I'm going to address the question in a way that sort of, how can education systems in the global south? So this is for those who are working either in the education system or in the private sector, or in places and positions that can change education systems in the global south. This is not particularly for just Africa, but this is like generally the global south. I would start with this example that I learned about. It's I don't know how many of you know, but there is a Paybox. Paybox is an innovative AI solution that was embedded into WhatsApp, and that allows users to track their finances and engage in conversational dialogues. And it's an innovative solution that was created by a Ghanaian firm. And so, and there are many other innovative solutions that people in the global south, innovators in the global south, educationalists in the global south can embed the students with such kind of skills, that the coding skills, the math skills, or even the writing skills that are needed to come up with these ideas. But I think for the level of education system changers in the global south, I think one of the things is the AI in the local context, which is the global AI strategies could integrate global South perspectives, global South data sets, and the challenges that the global South is facing into AI research and development. That is one. The ethics, AI ethics and policy engagement. So we have seen that usually Europe comes with AI governance. The United States or even developed and developing countries are coming up with AI governance and AI roadmaps. And so how maybe the educationalists in the Global South could think about that policy engagement, the AI governance side of things. And include that into education systems. Like, for example, I'm from India, and in 2021, India came up with a new education policy. For 30 years, India had not upgraded its national education policy. So they came up with a national education policy, and they wanted to understand how to implement 21st century skills, which is the digital skills, into the school system. And so we worked with UNICEF and we worked with the government of India to sort of to do that, how to do that. And the one thing that we came up with was the public-private partnerships, the governments, the educational institutions, and the AI companies within Africa, but also outside of Africa. Like, how can we collaborate together to bring the AI education programs to schools and to universities? If the audience here is in those positions and places, please think about those solutions. Okay. And
You muted.
You muted
Hello,
Nusrat.
yeah,
We
somebody
haven't heard the
did.
last 10 seconds.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah, I guess I was just talking about the cross-border knowledge sharing. Say, for example, Sarisha was just talking about LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is one of the most important tools to use when it comes to like sharing knowledge and just following knowledge. And it's a very professional tool. Like, I would not recommend Instagram, I would not recommend TikTok or any other social media tools, but I think I would highly recommend LinkedIn, following people who you think are in your specific areas of expertise, whatever you want to become or whatever you are, and if you want to grow in that field that you are. So just share knowledge, comment, follow people, follow organizations to just keep sharing that knowledge, and find your own ways of cross-border knowledge sharing. Also, participate in internships, hackathons, boot camps when it comes to technology and AI. And I would say for the second question, which is like what resources such as online platforms or global networks, I would recommend to enhance AI skills and career readiness. I would suggest there are so many online courses and certifications that you can do. Google has its own AI and Gen AI courses that it has come up with. Even, in fact, I was actually following one of the AI startup school, Google's AI startup school. Coursera is one online, and Coursera, edX. They have so many AI machine learning programs that they offer. In fact, they're offered by professors, at some of the world's top universities, such as Stanford, MIT. Microsoft is offering, Udacity is offering, and then some of the global networks. I think, there are so many networks in Africa itself that you can follow, but all across the global south that you can follow, such as I think one of the platforms that I learned about was the Africa AI Accelerator program. I heard it's excellent. I mean, I haven't engaged with any such programs yet, but actually, you know what? Yes, there is one more program that Ghana is doing recently, and I would be an instructor for that program. It's AI and Trust and Safety. Trust and Safety is another big concept that I would not go into right now, but I think hackathons and competitions, again, Google Code-in hackathons, Kaggle competitions, and I think, yeah, LinkedIn is absolutely a mentorship and career support program. UN is doing a lot of career support programs, so I would highly recommend those, and that's it.
All right, thank you very much, Nasarat Farouk, for such an insightful. So a few take homes is that we should participate in internships, as well. You should participate in competitions that is being organized in Africa and other platforms as well, so that we can leverage how we use AI. Also, there are several resources that we can use to get educated on AI. You can go on Coursera, you can go on Microsoft applications apps to use as well. So thank you very much. There are so many ways, okay, to network. And then some professional ones that Miss Nasarat mentioned was on LinkedIn. So you can go on LinkedIn, share what you can do, learn from people, connect with others who are also in that skill, and get educated. Thank you very much. Now let's move on to our next speaker, who is in the person of Fatomatu Danso. And here goes your question. As someone who works at the cutting edge of AI, what advice would you give to African students who are interested in this field? How can they overcome barriers to access and make global?
Interesting question right there. I mean, given my journey, I believe if there is this myth of you have to go through the traditional way of education for you to become anything in tech. And for my case, that's not actually how it happened. I actually self-taught myself. So first step is we just start with the fundamentals. And the fundamentals include Python programming language, you have data structures and algorithms. You also have statistics, which is the mathematics aspect of AI. So starting off with the foundations is going to be very crucial. And then you can leverage platforms like Coursera, you have the deep learning AI, you have most of these platforms, you have the IBM Essentials is also providing courses there. So all of these are platforms that one can leverage, even LinkedIn as well, that one can leverage to get to learn these stuffs. That is with the fundamentals. The next is you learn by doing, build and experiment. I mean, you can just go acquire all of these certificates in all of these courses, but then if you don't do the hands-on, and tech is more of practical and less of the theoretical. So having to practice and experiment how these things works, that is also going to be perfect. So you can actually use open source models. Hugging Face is one of them. Use open source models. You can just fine tune, or you can use retrieval augmented generation where you train these models, or you fine tune or rag them on your own specific data. So that is the second step. Then obviously we have limited resources in Africa. We have competing, we have issues when it comes to competing power. We have issues when it comes to electricity. We also have issues when it comes to quality internet access. But then there are platforms that make it easy for us to be able to build some of these AI models. You have the Google Colab, you have the Jupyter notebooks, you have the Cargo notebooks. So all of these are platforms where you can get to overcome some of these barriers that we face. And you can also join communities like the Deep Learning in the VAR mentorship platform, where you get to connect and interact with professionals that are going to pave the way for you and get you through your journey. And LinkedIn is also one of those platforms that you can use to get to collaborate and build a network of people that are in the industry that can get you through. And then another thing that I'm key about and passionate about is South African-centered AI solutions. Honestly, we have to solve problems that are locally unique to us. ChatGPT was a problem that is locally unique to a certain demographic. We can also build the ChatGPT of Africa that is trained on African data that is uniquely solving African problems. So having to solve local problems from various industries when it comes to agriculture, you have the healthcare, you have finance, you have education. It is vast. AI is applicable anywhere, everywhere, every industry. So let us solve local challenges. You get the skill sets, you get the knowledge. Just look around you. Even personally, we have issues that we face personally that AI can come into play and help us solve it. And by solving one problem that is unique to you or your community or your society or your country, you are solving the whole continent's issue. Because given the demographic and given the type of people that we have, we all face common issues. That is also another thing. And one important thing also that young people need to focus on is to collaborate and build global network. There's this saying that if you go alone, you go wide or you make it big, but if you go with people, you go far. So having to collaborate and build a network of people or youngsters or even professionals that are out there in the industry, that is also going to be something that is very helpful. You can join research groups, you can join hackathons, you can use LinkedIn, as I said earlier, you can join most of these conferences that happen. You have the deep learning in the bar is one of them that we can leverage so that we can build a global network, because the visibility is something that is also very crucial when it comes to our career path. And finally, be resilient. Resilience is something that we need. We need to be disciplined, we need to be dedicated, and we need to take this cause with passion, because it is challenging, honestly, but at the same time, it is rewarding. We have a whole lot of infrastructural issues that we face, internet, computational power, electricity even that we face, but we have to be resilient and use the little bit of resources that we have in our hands, and then we will be able to solve or harness the full potential of AI. So to young people out there, keep pushing, keep learning, keep innovating. The world needs African AI talent. Let us not just take part, let us not just consume the technology, but let us also take part in the innovation.
All right, thank you very much, Fatomatu, for such great insight. One key thing I am going to take from your speech is that we should learn by doing. So we should build on experiment. When you have or you get encounter with any AI skills or tool, don't just learn it and then put it somewhere else. Practice on it, build on it, and it will be effective and efficient for you in the future. We should keep learning, we should keep innovating. Thank you very much for such presentation. Moving on, we will call on Pablo Fernandez. And then you are going to answer this question for us. How important is it for African youth to engage in academic enrichment activities, such as advanced placement courses or independent research projects, to enhance their readiness for university level studies? In what ways can they begin, especially if they are not used to research level work? So Pablo Fernandez, kindly unmute and give us your submission.
Thank you for that. Portia, I think there was a problem with the slide. Actually, the question was a little bit different, a bit more about what roles can universities play so that they can gain AI skills. So I'm going to talk a bit more about this, about how can universities adapt to this. And here, a first point I'd like to make is that there's a subtle but important difference about learning about AI and learning with AI. Learning about AI in this academic context is usually specific content about AI, right? Can be a course, can be a class, can be something specifically designed to train about AI. And a different thing is to learn with AI. You could learn with AI about pretty much any subject that you can think of. In our university, our students learn with AI on ethnography or with AI on business. This is basically incorporating AI into the fabric of a learning experience. Why is this important? Because students are doing it right now as we speak, whether we like it or not. As far as I can see in my context and others, both at primary level, secondary, and beyond, students are already using AI, and oftentimes in not the best the best ways, or the ways are more productive for the meaningful development or the meaningful learnings that they are supposed to do at that specific levels. So we should redesign our learning experiences across the board so that we can incorporate the fact that students are using AI today and will be using AI tomorrow when they are part of the workforce, when they are having any impact in the world. And for this, it's super important that we take into account this idea that was already mentioned before of no teacher left behind, because this is basically a transformation that is happening today in classroom being led by teachers or by professors today. So I don't think we need to necessarily put most of our effort into preparing for a future where tutors will be part, or personalized AI tutors will be part of the mix, which I do believe that's probably where we are heading, but it's definitely not the present today. The present today is still teachers leading classrooms and having lots of challenges into how to incorporate AI today. So our main focus, at least as how I see it, should be on how can we redesign our learning experiences so that students can really leverage the power of AI and understand how to use them responsibly, how to exercise a critical thinking, how to get the best out of them. And this is something that is happening. It's not the first time that humanity has had this a challenge such as this one. In a way, we can maybe trace a parallel with what the invention of the calculator meant for learning math. This was a very different transformation because it was just one subject and it happened throughout decades because as many of you know, calculators were initially very expensive. So we had a lot of time to prepare to understand, okay, when should a calculator be incorporated into the classroom so that we can create good math learning experiences. So here we are in a similar situation, but the problem is that it happens much shorter time frame and across the board at different levels and across any subject. So we shouldn't be thinking that how to incorporate AI is just a conversation for technology-based courses or degrees or programs, but it's basically for everybody because we are all using and will continue to using more and more AI in the workforce. And if we don't prepare students for that, we're doing them a disservice in the way that we help them learn. And how to do that responsibly, I heard of a couple questions there, or I read a couple questions there in the comment box. It's an extremely challenging and difficult thing, particularly in our context where we have limitations of language, connectivity, pricing, and a lot of the things that were touched earlier. But I think a couple things that I would say here is this focus on the tutors or particularly the people, the teachers, the human professors leading this learning experiences. How can we support them? Because if they don't know how to use AI, if they don't know what AI can do and cannot do, it's very difficult for them to redesign the courses or the classroom experiences so that they can incorporate AI tools. It's impossible for them to do it if they don't do it. So we need to assist them in that transformation. We need to do a lot of learning in the open. The truth is that the nitty-gritty, like the details of how learning could be done is very specific to the subject, to the community, to the educational institution, and there's no right or wrong answer, or at least we don't know them. So we need to try and then share and learn in the open with others having similar challenges in forums such as this one and others that we can find to really share experiences of what works and what does not work. And then the last is that I think that there's a lot of questions that are unanswered, but we cannot wait to have an answer for that to start working with these things now. We need to build and to learn as we try. So we cannot wait to have all of the answers of how to do it right before we do it. We need to learn as we go. And that's something that should happen and is happening to some degree in classrooms around the world. So I'll finish there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the insight. So moving on, before I let Perch comes in, what I took from your presentation is that we should keep learning and let's do the learning in open so that we can share experiences and learn from each other. Thank you once again, Pablo. Perchlim, over to you.
Thank you so much, Portia, for welcoming me. I'm still going to read more questions to various speakers that are remaining. So the first speaker here is Maria Xavier. So he's going to answer this question.
Hi, everyone.
Still. Then me read out the question. From an HR perspective, how is AI reshaping the skill employers value in candidates? And how can education system prepare students for these changes? what advice will you give to students on building AI literacy to stand out in competitive job market? So you are most welcome, Maria Xavier, to answer this, to give us your insight in 5 minutes.
Okay, once again, thank you so much for the opportunity. Answering the first question, I would say that from an HR perspective, AI is significantly reshaping the skills employers value in candidates. And there are some key ways AI is influencing this shift. And I will explain how education systems can adapt to prepare students through skills employers current value due to AI. I will point 5 of them. And I will start talking about the digital literacy and technical skills. So it is important to understand AI, to understand machine learning, and also to understand data analytics. It's becoming crucial because employers value candidates who can work with AI tools and also interpret data, okay? Also, it is important to have basic knowledge of programming language, okay? It's essential. The second one is to have a critical thinking and problem solving as well. So as you know, AI handle routine tasks, so employers value candidates who can tackle complex and non-routine problems. As well, have the ability to interpret and analyze data generated by AI systems is essential. The third one, I would say, to have the adaptability and continuous learning. Many have a lifelong learning because with rapid technological change, the ability to continuous learn and adapt is now crucial, okay? Also have the flexibility. Candidates who can pivot and learn new skills quickly are highly valued. Third one, have emotional intelligence and don't forget the soft skills. As we know, AI takes over more technical skills, I would say. So human-centric skills like empathy, like communication, like teamwork are becoming more important as well. And also leadership and management skills, because skills in leading several teams and managing AI driving projects are in demand right now. And the last one, be creative and innovative, because AI can process data, but human creativity is also essential for innovation and think outside the box. As you know, AI can process data, but does not replace human-centric skills. And employers also value candidates who can identify opportunities and drive innovation, okay? So this is the answer for the first question. For the second question, I would suggest to students first to understand the basic, okay? Start from the basic. Start with the concept of AI through online courses. Today we have a lot of online courses, a lot of tutorials for free. And then have hands-on expertise, engage in hands-on projects using AI tools and platforms. It's very important. Also, be updated, following trends and advancements in AI by reading research papers, blogs, and attending webinars. It's very important to stay updated because, as we know, with rapid technological change, AI is changing every day. Today we have one platform, tomorrow we have. Important to stay updated. I would say also to don't forget of soft skills, because the soft skills still matters, and also work on your communication, on your critical thinking. Like complex AI concepts to non-technical stakeholders. It's also crucial.
Sorry, there's some disturbance. Please, Michael, kindly mute yourself.
Sorry, may I continue?
Yeah, you can continue.
So I was saying that it's also important to seek internship or have the real world experience, you understand? So it is important for students to consider internships or part-time roles in film tech or tech films, I mean, because the real world experience will enhance your understanding and your employability. Okay, that's are my advice to students. And always don't forget that AI does not replace human-centric skills. I was reading a lot of questions in the text box regarding AI, asking how students could work with AI, what it does and how it does. And I was trying to explain that AI is a very important tool. Everyone in the world, I mean, most of the countries today work with AI. It's today and tomorrow we will still work with AI. It's transforming the future in a lot of areas. And even in HR for training and development, payroll, performance appraisal, recruitment and selection. In a lot of sectors, we are working with AI. But for us and HR, I always say that it doesn't replace the human skills. And we still are human beings, and we cannot forget to be ourselves, behave as human beings, and not forget that. So that's my contribution for today.
Thank you so much, Mara Xavier, for the nice insights. There are a couple of points that you have mentioned, and they will truly transform us who are listening. Like, as you have said, AI, you can use it to learn basic programming. And when you have the skill, you can also use it in your business. The same also, AI can be used as assistant because we cannot use it. It cannot replace our minds, but it can assist us when designing something. Also, it can boost our creativities, plus many more points. So now, I'm going to call on our next speaker. So I'm going to call on our next speaker. Let me pass it the question, then I'll read out the name. So the question is, for our next speaker is, how can African youth leverage technology and digital tools to enhance their learning and career prospects? Are there specific Microsoft tools or programs you recommend for students looking to develop tech-related skills? What steps can be taken to upskill teachers across Africa in using AI sustainable in the classroom, especially under resource regions? So Amara Patuma, you're most welcome to give us your thoughts on this question.
Thank you so much once again. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Thank you.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, before I go straight to the answer, I would like to say that we should be open for change. That's the first step that we have to consider when it comes to leverage technology. We should be open for change. We saw during the COVID time, everything has changed. Everything has changed. We didn't we didn't know about Microsoft Teams, but after the COVID, all these platforms start coming. That's why we have to be able to adjust ourselves according to the times. African youth can leverage technology by accessing online courses, digital libraries, and tech communities to enhance learning and career prospects. There are a lot of platforms that you can actually start for free in order to leverage your technical skill. So now one thing that we have to consider always, make sure that you prepare and also plan. Don't try to start everything at the same time. It's not gonna work. You're gonna end up getting confused. The first step that you have to do is always consider, what is my main course at university? What I'm trying to specialize in at. That's the first step that you have to consider. After that, try to look for platforms that offer the same course as you are studying at university, and then start studying. So this way, you will be able to improve quickly and also learning, because you're gonna match up. That's one thing that we have to consider. And there is a lot of platforms, such as we have Coursera, we have Allison, you have Udemy, and so on. Like, there is a lot of Microsoft tools, but I would recommend Microsoft Learning, Microsoft Azure for Students, Microsoft Imaging Academy, Microsoft Teams for Students, Visual Studio Code, and Power BI for Students. So all these platforms, they are for free. All we have to do is go to Google and type Microsoft Learning. Then after that, you will see all the different options, and then sign up. After that, even inside the platform, you will see a different topics. You will see AI, you will see web development, you will see cybersecurity. Choose the field that you want to. Then after that, start studying. And also, there is even criteria. There is begin level, there is intermediate, and there is advanced. Check your skill, whether it's your first time, or maybe you have some skill that you want to develop. After you identify what you are trying to focus on, then you will choose, and then you will start studying. And also, don't try to start in a rush. Take your time, step by step, so that you can understand what you are studying. And after that, making sure that you try to practice, because you can spend the whole year studying, especially practical stuff. If you don't practice, you're gonna end up forgetting everything. And there is a lot of open source software that you can install, that you can download it for free, and then you can install. After that, you can practice. To upskill teachers under resource region in using AI, training programs should be accessible through online platform. That's the first thing that we have to consider. As soon as we identify that okay, this group of teachers, they don't have enough skills, then we should prepare a program so that we can equip all these teachers. Because you won't be able to teach if you don't know. That's the first thing that we have to consider. We have to prepare the teacher so that after that, they will be able to prepare all the students. Yes. Focus on practical AI tool with minimal data. We know that in the under-resourced region, they lack in many ways. Therefore, the government, ONGs, and tech companies, they should collaborate. They should organize a ways that will help these regions to have free access, even free access of data as well. Because we know that in order to access AI platforms, one must have data, so that you can be able to practice. Otherwise, it's going to be so difficult. And we can also see that some of the students, they move from one area to another due to the lack of opportunity, because they feel like, I'm not equipped enough. So then let me move from my province to another one, which is not wrong. But the question is, if everyone moves from one place to another, who's going to stay there? Who's going to teach those people that will be remain behind? That's why the government, NGOs, tech companies, they should come together. They should prepare a proper plan in order to fix this type of issue on these particular regions. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Amral Patuzo, for the nice insight. You really gave a lot of points that will really transform the continent. Like you keep telling us that teachers need to be taught on how to use AI. That's really a great point, because when they have the knowledge, they can be in person to transfer to the learner. So now it's our collective effort to advocate for it and design projects along that area. So I'm going to call on our next speaker. Our next speaker is Semakalang Drahimini. So the question that she's going to answer is, how can startup contribute to making AI education more accessible and practical for young Africans? And what role does entrepreneurship play in advancing AI literacy and preparing students for the future job market? So, Semakalang Drahimini, you're most welcome to give us your thoughts on this question.
Thank you so much, Peach, for the question. So TechFlow is a startup company. We have been in the space for almost 2 years now, but with the skills that we're coming with, we have been in the education space for almost 12 years now. So what we did is we took a young graduate under our wing, hoping that they would actually, we thought actually young people are vibrant, they know the AI tools that are available. They know how to use digital tools. We were surprised to find out that that graduate couldn't even create a LinkedIn account. So it took us back to think about where are we going wrong in the education system. So what we advise is startups to actually adopt schools, look for schools that are underperforming, schools that are at disadvantage in disadvantaged communities, because it doesn't really help for a startup to focus more on communities that actually have some understanding of how to use AI tools. Let's go back to the communities that are disadvantaged. So as the startups adopt the schools, they can actually think about how to train teachers on how to use AI tools effectively, how to create a lesson plan that is applicable in the context of the classroom, where the learners are not really giving teachers AI tools that they cannot use within the classroom. So demystifying AI, because most of our teachers are scared. When you start talking about AI, they get scared to even tell you that I don't even know what AI stands for. So we need to really motivate our teachers, get them to understand that AI can actually be your assistant teacher in the classroom, giving you more time to focus on creating hybrid models that combine the theory that you're teaching with the practical experiences that the learners come with from home. So one of the other things that startups could think about is developing curricula that is applicable in the business world. So if you look at our teachers, they only have time. Okay, they have been trained on the curriculum that we're currently using in our different countries, right? You may find that a teacher does not have time to look for innovative ideas on how to bring learners into being able to be confident to use AI tools. So startup companies that actually have an understanding of how to use AI tools, they can look at the current curriculum in different countries to say, in South Africa, if we're using the CAPS curriculum, we align the CAPS with the AI tools that are available to ensure that teachers do not have to stress about how do I align all of these tools with what I'm expected to be teaching in the classroom. Another thing that startups could also think about is creating projects, that allow our young innovators to apply their AI skills in the real world situation. So not just to share AI tools that they cannot relate with and that will not assist them in coming up with solutions that build their communities. Okay. So also just to think about, or taking it back home, there is an AI tool, Vulavala AI. I like it so much because I spoke about the language being a barrier to learning. So what they do is the youth, young people, can ask questions in their mother tongue, and it gives responses in English. So it bridges the gap, the language barrier. It closes the language barrier and bridges the gap, and helps the learners to understand what is it that they require the AI tool to assist them in while they're solving problems in their communities. So it also offers several learning, machine learning techniques that exposes the youth of South Africa to AI. So this tool was created by South Africans for South Africans. I'm really hoping to see more Africans creating tools for Africans, AI tools for Africans. So this is basically to just help to remove language being a hinder to our youth being able to access AI education. Again. So we'll also go back to how our young people are struggling to create. You have a graduate who has qualified to actually bring about or to solve certain challenges in our communities. But the problem is the type of CVs that they send to the companies that they're applying to, they're not really at good standard. They're not really putting them at a better competitive level. So we need to really teach our youth in using ChatGPT, in assisting them to draft a CV and a motivational letter that relates to the job description. Also to just show them that the ChatGPT and Meta AI can actually review the CVs, their own CVs and motivational letters, and make it more personal. So I also heard a leader, Sarisha, saying that AI doesn't only take jobs, but it also creates jobs too. So so basically what we're saying is, as much as jobs could be replaced, it also allows, or they will be replaced by new and more fulfilling and high-paying jobs. So we need to get our youth excited about the future. We may not know what the future holds, but we just need to get them excited to figuring out how to be innovative, how to come up with solutions that actually solve the problems that they're facing in their communities. Now, when we have to go back to why or how the startups can also look into helping young people become future leaders that are equipped with both technical and business acumen, but just making sure that young people have the entrepreneurial mindset in the AI field. So how would we look at the AI startup ecosystem? We need to have the youth, entrepreneurs, and AI professionals coming together with the understanding that no one is an island. We need to work together and share best practices and come up with solutions. What we also could think about as startups is engaging with local organizations to support our AI initiatives, because most of us as startups, we do not have available funds where we would like to actually ensure that no young person is left behind. So we could partner with local NGOs and community groups to mobilize resources and create AI education initiatives that are community-driven. I think that would actually make it more relatable. So also looking at, I believe most countries might have community tech centers where startups can actually use those centers to provide access to necessary tools and technologies for teaching AI concepts effectively. Okay. Now, we all know young people get discouraged quite quickly. I'm also young, so I can also say that about myself. So we need startups to actually create more mentorship programs in partnership with industry experts, connecting young Africans with experienced mentors in AI field that will help to promote guidance and inspiration. when we come into the classroom, we always say teachers must use interactive content because it sparks the learner's interest, using gamification. So in a recent conversation, we spoke about in maths-led grade 10 to 11, grade 10, 11, and 12, learners not being able to read the questions with understanding and actually come up with the solutions to solve the problems that they're given to them. So AI could be used to actually support learners in understanding how to apply those questions in the real world. So taking it back home and bringing it back to the classroom. So startups could also think about creating educational material that catered to a diverse learning style and languages as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Samakalan, for the insightful presentation. You have really mentioned a lot of points that are worth taking. Like you have mentioned, AI can help us, help in language barrier, especially like kids, those who may not be speaking. And also you also talk of youth entrepreneurs and professional AI professionals coming together for partnership. All these are points that can really transform the continent, and plus many more. So I'd like to now call on the next speaker. So we have our next speaker who is Serensha Barat. So the question for Senator Barat is, AI is transforming the legal field globally. How can students interested in law and other non-technical fields use AI tools to enhance their skill and career readiness? How can they also use this to ethically build their professional network during their university years? Are there specific strategies for students who are shy or unsure about how to study? So Serensha Barat, you're most welcome to take us to give us your thought on this question. Then your time is 5 minutes.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And apologies, I'm going to have to leave straight after I've given my insights on the questions. Okay, so AI is changing the legal field. I mean, being in the legal field myself and having started my startup 5 years ago, I can see the transition and automation that is brought about within a very black and white career field, right? Like there was no gray area with law. It's either it's done in a specific way or not. And with AI coming about and being able to automate a lot of our contract processes or the way we're able to analyze case studies, it is something that's going to make a lot of professionals in the legal field almost redundant. And it sounds like I'm coming with positive and negatives each time because it really is that, right? So when we look at smart legal research tools, AI tools that can assist us, it could be like Jasper, it could be Apollo to look for individuals on LinkedIn, it could be ChatGPT, it could be Claude, it could be there's so many tools that I use on a daily to just be able to find the things that I need, right? So bringing it back to being quite practical with what you're going to utilize in order to learn from it and to utilize it in your daily life. So easy document drafting, AI-powered templates and contract management tools is going to make it easier to create and review legal documents for the legal industry. When we look at networking for career growth, find mentors and opportunities on LinkedIn and go back to ChatGPT, look at the person's LinkedIn, copy and paste what their LinkedIn is, go into ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT, how can I start an intro to the specific person? And it can guide you on it. I don't think we're educated on the right prompts to actually utilize when it comes to AI. When people think that you just ask it a question and it can do it for you. But you've got to really prompt it in a specific way to give you the insights that you need. But what I find it being quite beneficial is that you just take a person's LinkedIn, say you're going to an event and you want to maybe network with someone, you add them on LinkedIn, you take their bio, you put it in ChatGPT, and you ask it, how can I have an intro to this person? And that allows you to also be less shy when you're approaching the person because it's given you a summary of the person. So just be smart about the interaction. And then it improves your online presence as well. So how do I better my profile? How do I approach people? And how do I do it in a smart way, utilizing AI to do so? So we've really got to utilize the tools that we have at our disposal, but educate ourselves how to actually use it. AI-powered outreach. So I mentioned a platform called Apollo. It's been one of the most powerful tools that I've used over the last 2 to 3 years, whether it is outreach for investors, whether it is outreach for sales, whether it is outreach for industry leaders. So what Apollo basically does is you've got to integrate it onto your LinkedIn. And I'm speaking a lot about LinkedIn because it's a super powerful tool, right? So you integrate it into your LinkedIn and it actually gives you direct access to people's emails and contact details. And what that enables you to do is create proper sales funnels if you're looking for sales, create proper outreach if you're looking to ask industry leaders on specific things, and directly reach them. You don't have to have credits on LinkedIn to be able to reach these people. You don't have to upgrade to a paid LinkedIn. Apollo, you can utilize it for free. Excuse me. So use things that people have been telling you guys to use on this call today. There's been super valuable insights. I hope you guys have been taking notes and really just learn more about it. Go onto YouTube, type in if you don't know something, and chances are you're going to find a link to learn more about it or someone speaking about it in the most simplest terms for you. And then when I look beyond legal parts, right? So we're speaking to career parts where you're not just going to have a job that's a lawyer or an advocate or a magistrate, for example. You're going to have legal specialists where they are utilizing AI tools. You're going to have AI legal researchers. You're going to have data analysts looking at big data that's created from all of this information that we have access to now. Also just new parts like AI ethics and compliance. Are we allowed to utilize AI the way we are? So let's take it back to ethics and compliance. Prompt engineers. So yes, we can ask AI a question and hope that it gives us the right answers, but we're going to need to have prompt engineers that assist us in getting the right information out of the specific question that we're asking. There's so much to speak about in terms of different job opportunities that's going to come about. And I'm speaking more to legal because this is something that I have knowledge on. I studied law, but I'm not even utilizing the degree that I studied because of the way life is moving and the pace that life is moving to. By 2035, 20% of individuals within the legal field are going to be losing their jobs if not educated on AI, on ethics, on compliance, on cybersecurity. So start educating yourself. I can't stress enough how important education is, and it's going to be education that you yourself is going to go and look out for. It may not be something that's taught to you. You're going to get these different tools that have been made mention to in these calls or on platforms. Listen to what we're saying because it's literally just things that we're doing on a daily basis. We're trying to refine it for you to just, in the most simple terms, to go out there, research, find these online platforms that can assist you. Microsoft, Allison, Google, to learn how different industries are democratizing this different access and just learning as we go. When we look at language barriers, right? So what we did with Lloyd Up is we included or we localized it to 4 African regions right now: Kenya, Botswana, Nigeria, and South Africa. And we utilize that as data points in where people are using our platform the most. And based on that, we've created or we've knocked down language barriers. So people are able to ask our AI in their specific language a question, and it's able to give you the answer in your specific language. And what that's allowing people to do is be more comfortable with the way they view contracts, with the way they view information. So a lot of changes that we're going through right now, a lot of different tools that you guys may have access to right now. It can seem kind of overwhelming, but also remember that the human element to things are not going to just disappear. And I doubt it's going to ever just disappear completely, but it's going to disappear little by little, where we've got to start educating ourselves on how to integrate tech into our real life situations. Career prep, resume building. What you can do is literally download your LinkedIn as a PDF and insert it into ChatGPT, and it's able to refine it for you, and then you edit your LinkedIn accordingly. So really start with your career prep in terms of your resume. If you're going to be going out there looking for jobs, one of the things that they are going to look at is how skilled are you within the tech sector of any field, be it education, be it legal, be it engineering, be it accounting. I mean, all of these fields are starting to be automated to a certain degree right now. So start educating yourself on it. Smarter networking, so optimizing your profiles, optimizing your CVs, and just staying up to date with, as technology comes out, how can I adapt and adopt as I go? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Seresa Barat, for the wonderful points that you have elaborated. I really noted a couple of points. Almost my notebook was almost getting full. So you talked about Apollo, a tool that you can also use to optimize your LinkedIn account. I think that is a really great thing. Also, you can also use AI in improving your CV, writing motivation letter, and also in doing your research, plus many more points that you have mentioned. I hope we are also taking note like the way I'm taking. So I'm going to call on my co-moderator to take us in the next session. I know we're almost getting tired, but we are almost getting also done. I'm quite sure maybe some of us are tired, but let's just wait for some minutes. We are almost finalizing the session. So I'm going to call on our next speaker. I'm going to call on my co-moderator to take us in the next session. So Portia, you're most welcome.
Thank you, everyone. Cheers. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you very much. So to our next speaker, that is Ahmed. Your question is, what skills should students focus on developing to work effectively with generative AI tools in industries like content creation or software development? And how can they be involved in building sustainable AI models that align with the continent's unique educational and career needs? So Ahmed, over to you.
Hello, hello again, everyone. I hope you can hear me. Okay, so to answer this question, I actually started thinking about the intersection of education and AI, and immediately one person came to my mind. So that person is Jensen Huang. So he's the CEO of NVIDIA. I watched a conference, I think it was last year, and he said the phrase that kids shouldn't learn to code. So when I heard him say that, I was dumbfounded, actually, because It may sound surprising at first, but if you dig deep, he said the word code. So coding is very different to programming. So I believe that he meant that students should focus on developing problem-solving skills and using AI as a tool to assist in that process rather than just writing syntax. So as I just said, coding and programming are very different, and almost all AI systems can code, but only a few can program. Whether as well it was in content creation or software development, AI should be seen as a tool to enhance the creativity and efficiency and not to replace people. So what should students approach generative AI, or how should students approach generative AI? So it's important to understand that these artificial intelligence systems learn from past data. So they use, let's say, some probability distribution of data, and they get the next word to predict and give it to the user. So their creativity is limited to what they have learned. So it might sound original at times, but it's just predicting patterns based on existing knowledge. So this is why students should learn to guide AI, not just rely on it. So they must think of it more of as an assistant to help in refining ideas than creating them themselves. So AI system would always need some sort of human input or human in the loop to keep them in check. So a great example of this is, I don't know if you have heard about this, but there's a company who created this this programmer actually called Devin, and it's an AI-powered software engineer, and it costs about $500 a month, which is very, very cheap for a software developer. But it has actually led to costly mistakes for the companies that have engaged with Devin rather than just hiring people and doing some screening interviews and so on. Also, for AI and building AI in Africa, I would like to mention that this global AI race that is largely right now between OpenAI and DeepSeek, but DeepSeek has shown us that with limited resources, they had developed a competitive model, even surpassing some of the big players. So Africa has the same potential. We don't need a lot of resources. We just need good people and a good mindset. And we don't need $billion budget as why I was answering in the chat. I think Thomas said that. But basically through collaboration and research and innovation, we can create AI that truly understands our languages. It would be very nice to see a tool like ChatGPT that can talk in African dialects, not just English or French. So my advice to students who are interested in contributing to this AI scene, so there are a lot of great opportunities you can do nowadays online. You can participate in hackathons, you can join research group, you can even contribute to open source projects, even perhaps why not create our own data sets, because the African continent, most of the countries do not have their own language data sets. So we would say that the African dialects are low resource language. So if we create our own data sets, we would perhaps enable some people to create our own version of ChatGPT or DeepSeek, for example. Another idea I wanted to share for students is to not focus on the high level of implementations of big companies, as nowadays you can just use some coding library or framework and just implement the models without knowing what it does concretely. So students should and they need to actually understand what is going on in the backbone of these models. They need to read more and more research papers, dive deep into the math behind such computations to truly understand how to build, and not just build, but optimize these models. Also, one last piece of advice, perhaps I would say not to get stuck in tutorial hell, because I think we were all students at once, and I was also a student. So tutorial hell is a very, very bad place to get stuck in. So if you want to learn something, the best way is to just do it. Start programming, create your own projects, and learn by researching. And keep in mind that if you understood something, then you should be able to explain it to, let's say, a 5-year-old. So if you can't explain it to a 5-year-old, then you don't understand the concept. That's basically it. I'm inclined to share a few resources right now on the chat of the YouTube channels that have helped me in greatly understanding statistical concepts, theoretical concepts, programming skills, and everything. So just put them in the chat. That's all. Thank you. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you, sir. We can hear you.
Yeah, that's it. I just was saying that I'm going to share the YouTube links for the channels that have greatly helped me in learning a lot of the theoretical stuff, linear algebra, statistics, programming skills, and so on. So I encourage everyone to actually check these channels out. And to Thomas, I think we should argue on another time, perhaps. You can accept me on LinkedIn and we'll continue the discussion there as well. Thank you, everyone.
Is it the meeting is over now, ladies and gentlemen?
Thank you. Thank you, Ahmed Abasi, for the nice presentation. I'm going to go to the next speaker. I'm going to call on our next speaker, which is Joy Tari Baksho. From your experience, how can African youth balance technical education with soft skill development? Why are soft skills critical for success in tech-related field? So, Joy Tari Baksho, you are most welcome to give us your insight in 3 minutes.
Thank you so much. I hope I can be heard. Okay, so I think the rest of the speakers have already said a lot of things when it comes to technical skills and also dropping in resources for us, which are really helpful. I love to hear everyone's perspective, right? But we also need to identify that balancing technical education with soft skills is very crucial, especially for today's market and for African youths as well, who are trying to navigate the fast-evolving tech landscape as well. And from my experience as a tech educator, as a mentor, and as a community builder for several communities, and even as the lead for the Google Developer Students Club on my campus, I've learned that the best way to achieve this balance is through intentional learning and practice. And what I mean by this is that whilst bootcamps, right, coding bootcamps, online courses, and even self-learning platforms provide technical skills, soft skills like communication, like leadership, like teamwork, like adaptability, are best developed through community work, through community involvement, through mentorship, and through working on real-world projects as well. And one of the ways I personally balance is by actively participating in tech communities, by mentoring others as well, and also volunteering for leadership roles. And you could also add up engaging in hackathons, right? Some technical aspects that also help you develop the soft skills aspect as well. For example, engaging in hackathons, open source projects, and even collaborative initiatives as well, that would not only let you display your technical skills, but you also naturally develop your soft skills like problem solving, like teamwork and communication as well. And in addition to this, I believe that structured programs are also available that integrate both. For example, you have public speaking sessions at developer meetups, right? If you're in Africa, especially Kenyans in the room, Nigerians, Ghanaians as well, these are those I have adequate knowledge of for now. You can see that there are a lot of developer conferences out there now where you could, give a talk on your favorite frameworks and even teach developers in the room as well. So this will also help you build confidence and prepare individuals as well for the workforce. And for the African youths as well, with the evolving tech market, I think it's also essential to seek opportunities beyond just the technical certifications. It's a good deal that everyone is, going on LinkedIn Learn, is, taking courses on Google and the rest of them. But I think taking part in networking events and also joining professional associations, even on LinkedIn, you can see that we have communities that you can join and also communicate, collaborate, and also give your insights, right, based on your interests. This would also help you practice storytelling, right? You can do a lot of storytelling about your technical work. And I just want to say that soft skills, to me, is more like a career accelerator. And coming back to why soft skills are very critical, right, for success in the tech-related field. Everyone thinks when you talk about tech, it's just learning how to code or more on the technical aspect, but then also forgetting that soft skills are like a bridge, right, between the technical expertise and also being able to create or make real impact. And just to draw back to an example, through my years as a software engineer, I'm like making a slight pivot into the developer relations role because from my work with communities and with other developers as well, I find that I enjoy, making content, teaching, sharing my knowledge, speaking at events and the likes. And I don't think I would have known about this aspect of technology or seeing a new passion in this if I wasn't very included in community, right? So whilst being proficient in programming languages, AI models, cloud computing, or whatever skills in tech you are involved in is important. I think that the ability to also communicate ideas, collaborate with teams, adapt to change is what also determines long-term success in your field. And from my experience speaking at over 20 tech events and mentoring aspiring developers as well, I've also seen firsthand that the best engineers that I know of and technologists out there are not just the ones who can maybe write clean codes or write effective or efficient codes, but they're also the ones who can clearly explain their ideas. Ahmed said that earlier, that if you can't explain a concept, to a 5-year-old, then you as well do not know it clearly enough, right? So also being able to explain maybe object-oriented programming, right, to your fellows in school, if you're still in school, or if you're out of school, there are also programs that are available for you to enroll in that you could also be able to teach and also give back to the community. You can also work effectively in teams and navigate challenges with resilience as well. And lastly, I'd just like to say that in today's global job market, companies are looking for individuals who can also think critically, who can manage projects, and who can engage with stakeholders beyond just technical work. So we can see that with the rise of AI as well, you could sit with ChatGPT and create like a page for a website, create a sign-up form, right? Create a login form. So what sets you apart in the job market is still our creativity as humans, right? Our originality. And we need soft skills like emotional intelligence, leadership, problem solving to also help other developers, right? And with this, you can take up higher responsibilities, leadership roles, you can lead projects, you can even transition into other roles like developer relations, like I mentioned earlier, which is what I'm also transitioning into. You can decide to go for project management as well. You can also decide to go into the entrepreneurship path, say if you have a startup, and you can see that communication and collaboration are things that will make you stand out, especially when you're also trying to, pitch your idea of a startup to investors. And for African youths, investing in soft skills is not an option at all. I feel it's a necessity, right? The ability to be able to network, to pitch ideas, to write technical documentations, to mentor others, opens the door to greater opportunities in tech as well. And I believe that as we work towards shaping the future of Africa's tech industry, we should also recognize that innovation isn't just about what we can build, right? It's also being able to communicate what we build, to collaborate with others in a team to build substantial projects for Africa, and also to drive change together. And just to round up as well, if you're wondering, like communities you could join, I know of a community in Ghana here, Black Tech Lead, they're doing amazing. They teach soft skills, make you stand out as a leader as well. I'll share the link like afterwards. You can also decide to go for maybe GitHub experts if you're a student. You can decide to go on Microsoft Students Learn as well. You can decide to become a Microsoft Student Learn ambassador as well for your school to also teach other students coming up after you. And there's also the Google Developer Students Club, which I'm the lead for my school. You can also decide to take part in that. There's the Huawei ICT Club, there's the IEEE, NSBE, Google Summer of Code for technical writers. There are a lot of ways to communicate, right? Because most persons might learn best by watching YouTube videos. You can decide to go into contents to teach how to use a particular stack or how to use a particular framework. You can decide to go into technical writing, which is something I also enjoy doing. And for open source, you can check out Outreachy as well. They run open source programs and internships too that you can be part of. And there's also the AWS Community Builder too. There's a lot of them. I hope I'm able to, pass out the links as well right after this. But at the end of the day, I'm just trying to say that the soft skills are really, really essential, right? Not just for personal improvement, but also for professional experience, right? To improve our chances of also growing in our several fields. And also, most importantly, because I love community, being able to also give back to the community, being able to pass down a knowledge you have, right, to someone coming after you. I think that's pretty important. And that's like a privilege to me, right? So yeah, I think I'll just end this here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joy Tari, for the wonderful insights and for taking us through several points like we can use AI in scaling ourselves. Also for telling us your story on how you use AI. Those are real great points. So we're running out of time. So I'm going to rush over the session. Then I'm going to take us to Q&A session. There's some, okay, we remain one speaker, that is Isra Itis, but today she is not available. But the question is, data science is becoming increasingly essential in virus industry. What are the most essential ways for African youth to begin learning data science and applying it to real world challenges? So this is the question for Isra Itis, but she's not around. Then I don't know if there's one of the speakers that can answer it in just 2 minutes.
Could you put back the question?
Yeah.
So the most accessible ways for African youth to begin learning data science and applying it to real-world challenges. Information is everywhere nowadays. I started learning about AI by reading ebooks and just basic YouTube. And I'll go again and say that the links I've shared have greatly helped me and understanding the underlying concepts, because they don't just go and explain the concept in a high level, but they actually go into the implementation details. And by watching these videos, I learned that a lot of things that I knew, I thought I knew, I actually took them for granted. I did not know what was actually happening until I actually took some pen and paper and wrote down the details. So I think that's my take on the question.
Thank you so much, Ahmed Abasi, for giving us your insight on the question. I hope everyone has learned the way I've also learned here. Now I told you earlier on, I'm going to rush with the session because we are time bound. I'm going to take us to Q&A. There's no time for questions and answers, but likely most of the questions are answered, the one that are in chat box. But there's one question here. What kind of AI tools, for example, do you think African innovators need to develop to improve education quality in Africa? That's one question that I'm seeing is. Yeah, that is the only question that did not answer as if.
I think the speakers already answered a lot of the questions on the thread.
Yeah, because I'm seeing most of the questions answered in the chat. Okay, now let me take Ayubu Kemis. I'm giving only 30 minutes to raise your question. Yeah. I mean 30 seconds.
Okay, we almost heard the speaker and we don't hear them consider the importance of disability people on artificial intelligence. How in general will you explain it and how we can participate them in artificial intelligence uses and artificial intelligence moderation? Thank you.
Thank you, Yusuf, for the nice question. It is a great question. How can we include people with disability in AI? How can they use AI? So, and a speaker can answer for us in 30 seconds.
All right. Hello.
Yes.
Okay. So I'll just come in with my own perspective because I'm into web development and there's something we call accessibility. And definitely when we talk about diversity and inclusion, we don't just want to build any product, right? We also want to build products that are accessible to several persons, right? Both those who are differently abled as well. And so I would say that in terms of building, we would have to keep like the users in mind and those who are differently abled. There are a lot of ways, right, when it comes to accessibility that we can include them, right, when we are building as well. So for example, I don't know if ChatGPT has this yet, but then you can also give your prompts like through your voice, right? You can talk, right? That's also one way for accessibility. And then other aspects of accessibility basically goes into the nitty-gritty of building these platforms, right? Maybe like making sure that your alt like has a description and so on. But yeah, I think for now, like that's about it for me. But I really enjoy the audio aspect of also being able to prompt, right, an AI platform and then also still end up getting results at the end of the day. Thank you. I think any speaker can also give in and highlight.
Thank you, Joyce Harry, for the insight. Any speaker with a different perspective, but it's fine. Okay, let me also check the chat box if there's any question that is not answered really. So I'm seeing that most of the questions are answered in the chat box. Yeah. So please, if you have any question, you can raise up your hand. Then I can see if there's a question that is not answered. If your question is not answered, you can raise up your hand. Yeah, Rachel, in 30 minutes, you raise up your question. 30 seconds, I mean.
Okay, thank you for giving me the platform. My name is Ruth from United States International University, Africa, in Nairobi. So mine is not a question, but I just want to add on to what my brother Ahmed and Andreas have said regarding how we can best utilize these online platforms in order to enhance our AI skills or our skills in the digital age. We have important websites such as the Datacam, Coursera, ALX. These are all resources that we could use to back up our knowledge. So just like what my brother Ahmed said, let us be curious. Let us be curious to find out what AI is all about and to develop also new systems that can really boost the economy of Africa and also help Africa to be in the same, let me say, in the same platform with the rest of the world. I am from Nairobi, majoring in data science and analytics. I'm very curious about the field and I would like to collaborate with like-minded individuals like you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Red, for giving us insight. Your insight about that question. So let's go to the last point, the next slide. So the rest of the question will be answered in the chat box. Let's go to the next slide. So now we have come to almost to our conclusion of our session. I know almost everyone people are now tired of waiting. At first we are 120, but now we have dropped by half. So in this, I'm going to encourage us to follow YALDA international social media platform. Like we have Facebook account, we also have Twitter, then we also have Instagram and was Telegram group. So you can be following YALDA in all these social media platform for all the news, the updates, so that you keep on following us for upcoming webinars. Yes, Ahmad Habasi.
Yes, I just wanted to share one last thing in the chat. I've actually been using this repository that contains almost all of the free features that you can use without paying any fee, and it's a great website to check out if you want to develop a project, but you need to host it. For example, you'll find the free solutions, and for example, Cloud Firestore would give you 1 gigabyte of free storage and 50,000 free reads. So you can build your first project for free. You don't have to pay money. And that's all. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ahmed, for the insight, and I'm quite sure we also put it into consideration. Then Destiny, in 30 seconds.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm Destiny. I'm from Port Harcourt, Nigeria University. Now, one question is, how can we be able to use AI to build a language model in our own local languages? Knowing that AI only feeds on information that are provided to it, so how can we be able to do that in our own local languages, so we're able to understand many things about things like ChatGPT only uses the already known and existing languages. So I want us to look at it from our own individual languages here in Africa. Thank you.
Okay, that is a good question. I think they'll answer you in the chat box because we are running out of time back. I don't know who will answer it. Ahmad? Abbas?
Could you repeat the question? I didn't hear it.
The question is, how can... Okay. Are you talking?
I'm still waiting for the question to be reset. Perhaps, Destiny, you can repeat the question.
Okay, my question is, knowing that AI only reproduces already existing data that was already fed into the system, how can we be able to produce an AI model or like ChatGPT and all this Copilot that can be able to translate in our own local languages so they can also get to people in the rural villages so that everyone can be able to use these chat mechanisms?
Okay. Okay. Thank you for the question. Actually, to answer this, you'll need to understand that these models are based on the same architecture, basically, with a few differences now and then, but they don't care about the language in itself. So for an AI model, they don't know Arabic, English, and French, so they just understand numbers. So it's not a matter of how can we create it? We can create it. It's a matter of creating the data set. So the data needs to be cleaned, it needs to be collected, needs to be checked by humans, and so on and so on. And then you'll have to overcome the computational resources that are required to train such models. But it is feasible even with minimal resources. Trust me. I hope I've answered your question, Destina.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So that is now the last question. Let's now go to the last slide. The second last slide, I think. Yeah. So the first, the previous poster was about Yalden. So you make sure you follow Yalden on all the social media. We have Facebook, Twitter, then Instagram, YouTube channel, and LinkedIn. Please make sure you follow Yalden for all the updates and many more opportunities. Then let's go to the next slide. So also College Guide Africa, you also follow us on our TikTok, then Instagram, Twitter, YouTube channel, and LinkedIn. You make sure you subscribe, you follow us on this channel so that you get updates on various opportunities, news, anything that is happening in these organizations. So also in College Guide Africa, at College Guide Africa, there are opportunities that I'm going to announce to you. Like we currently have available opportunity, voluntary leadership roles and internship opportunities for students that may be willing to work with us. So please, we are going to drop the details in the chat box. You make sure you apply. This is an opportunity for you. We also have like a skill workshop training that will take place in March. But the call is supposed to start in 30th of But seeing you today, you join the program, we'll make sure that we can start with you. We're going to also post the link there. Then you can begin to apply if you want to attend that skill workshop. Then I really thank you all the speakers for giving us insight, informative session, and also for making the session today very engaging, and also for at least giving us information that can really transform the continent. I also thank you all the audience, because without also you, I know we cannot have the session today. If there are no audience, it means we cannot have any question or any engagement. Yeah, I really thank you so much for tuning up in the session today, and I look forward to meeting you all in the near future in upcoming programs, both in Yalden and College Guide Africa. So you make sure you keep on following us. So then we are going to also give you certificates. I hope also you registered in the link that is shared. So we're going to give certificate. Certificate shall be provided by College Guide Africa. So please, you make sure you register in the link that is posted in the chat box. So these are the announcements that I'll be passing on. And so let us know AI and education have and will have strong impact in our lives. So let us take advantage of AI and use it in use it in our careers, in our different professions, so that we can also shape the continent and the world. So I'd like to stop here, unless there's question from any of the members.
I just want to say thank you for having us. We've had a great time today, and it was nice speaking with everyone. and also the amazing speakers as well. And the chat box was also really, really informative. So thank you, everyone. And thank you, College Guide Africa, for having us as well.
Thank you so much, Job Baghdad. And is there any insight from, any comment from the speakers? So please, you can also give, then we call it a night or a day, depending on where you're joining us from.
I just wanted to say thank you for the opportunity, and we are open for the next session. Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we're also happy to be with you today.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Kindly post the link for the registration of certificate. And thank you for having us tonight. This is Jane from Kenya.
Those who join the session live will be receiving their certificates. If you join the session live, you will receive your certificate from College Guide Africa.
Okay, so I think I did not get so Valencia, may you repeat what you have just said about the certificate?
I think Jen asked about the certification. So for those who attended the session live, they'll be receiving their certificates from College Guide Africa. That should be in 1 week or 2 weeks' time. You should be receiving a certificate here.